be okay. I'll leave it. I'm just going to switch the way we do it. Yep. Oh, no. You let him push us in, and then I say it. This is right. But he just went rogue. I was supposed to welcome him. It's all good. Hold on. Welcome to Bloomfield Veterans. We are so honored to have all of you here today. Let's give our veterans one more round of applause. Good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Shannon, and I'm the high school principal, and I'm joined by Miss Amanda Masters, the middle school principal, and Mr. Greg Parzak, assistant principal, athletic director. We'd like to welcome all of you to the 2024 Bloomfield Veterans Day Recognition Ceremony. At this time, I'd like to welcome Ty Nafziger from Troop 55 Senior Patrol Leader to the podium.
Please stand and remove all hats for the presentation of our nation's colors.
Guardian, Sentry, Peacekeeper, Warrior.
Honor, courage, commitment, strength, integrity, duty, and country. Through the centuries, nations have called upon the services of a select few. A select few who were willing to place the needs of their own nation and their countrymen above their own.
A select few who are willing to sacrifice their lives and their freedom to preserve an idea and a way of life.
They have acquired many names with the passing of time: soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines.
They represent a pillar of strength on which this country and its people rest. Often asked to perform the unpopular and impossible on soil far from home, they remain the pillar of strength on which this nation and its people can rely.
Their uniforms have changed, the tools of their trade honed, but the mission remains the same: protect and defend our nation and its great flag.
They represent honor, courage, commitment, strength, integrity, duty, and country.
We salute those select few who made our founding fathers' dream out of reality and keep that theme alive for us today. The United States servicemen and women.
Guardian, Sentry, Peacekeeper, Warrior.
We salute you, our heroes.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Honor guard, salute! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Please post the colors. Honor guard dismissed.
Please continue to stand. At this time, I'd like to welcome 11th grader Layla Thompson to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Now we present to you the BCS Veterans Day Choir, directed by Mrs. Laura Moore. thank you to the BCS Veterans Day Choir. It is an honor to stand here today to celebrate Veterans Day with all of you. Veterans in the audience, and to those who serve and have served, today we come together to recognize your incredible sacrifice, dedication, and courage. We are deeply grateful for everything you've done and continue to do for our country. You've defended freedoms and protected values that define who we are. The bravery and resilience you've shown inspire us to be better humans, to care for one another, and to stand for justice and peace. Today, we remember the privileges we often take for granted are because of your sacrifices. To our students, honoring our veterans is also an opportunity to reflect on our own Bloomfield values of being kind, safe, responsible, and respectful. Veterans have shown us what it means to live by these principles. As we honor our veterans today, I want to leave you with a challenge. Carry forward the legacy they have entrusted in us. Show kindness by helping those in need, even in small ways. Take responsibility for your actions and your choices. Be respectful in your words and interactions, and always strive to create a safe, inclusive environment for everyone in Bloomfield. Let us carry these values forward as our way of expressing gratitude for those of you who have served. Thank you. And now a few words from Ms. Masters.
Today is a day of celebration. We are here to recognize and show reverence to you, our veterans. The theme for Veterans Day 2024 is a legacy of loyalty and service. We're grateful for the legacy of loyalty and service that you have provided to us. To be loyal means to show firm and constant support that we have all benefited from. Your dedication has laid a foundation of strength, courage, and resilience that inspires us all. You remind us of the power of loyalty to country, to community, and to one another. Through your service, you've shown us what it means to stand up for something greater than ourselves. Today, we honor that legacy, and we thank you for your unwavering commitment. You are our heroes, and we strive to carry forward the values you have instilled in us.
We are excited to welcome seniors Tim Austin and Aiden Rothfuss to the stage to share a message of gratitude and appreciation for our veterans.
All right. Good morning, Bloomfield, and good morning to our veterans that are joining us today. It is an honor to be able to come up here before you, and I thank you for all that you have done. I truly thank you. Really, I do. And it doesn't matter what branch you served in, whether it's Marines or Air Force, Coast Guard, it doesn't matter, because you still did your part in able to keep our country safe. And some of your peers among you never made it back home. But you still went out there and served without a second thought. So I thank you. And my uncle, he answered the call and he joined the Army. He served 12 years in doing satellite communications. And while he never saw any combat himself, he left at the rank of sergeant. And as of today, he is facing a fierce battle with stage 3 colon cancer. But he remains proud of all the time he was able to serve in the Army. And I don't share this with you all because I want sympathy for him. I share it to express how important it is to thank our veterans for all that they have done. Because they stepped up when no one else did. They left their families and their homes, and they might not have made it back. They put their lives on the line so none of you have to. So make sure today you thank them, because if it wasn't for them, you might not be here. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, veterans and honored guests, my name is Aiden Rothfuss. I'm a senior here at Bloomfield, and I have multiple family members on both sides of my family who are veterans. My aunts, my uncles, and my grandfather. We have all gathered today to pay tribute to the brave men and women in uniforms on the front lines and the people behind the scenes. They have all sacrificed everything to protect our country. These brave men and women put our country before their family, missing birthdays, holidays, and precious moments with their loved ones, without knowing if they'd ever see them again. And their families have spent long nights wondering if their loved ones will ever make it back home, or if they are safe. When most people think of veterans, they think of the soldiers that have fought in the battlefields, sailors on ships, or the jet pilots up in the sky. But there's so much more to being a veteran than most people think. There's mechanics like my aunt who ensure that every piece of equipment is maintained and the machine is ready for battle. They're the medical staff who care for the injured soldiers and save lives, putting their lives on the line to carry the wounded soldiers to safety, with little way of protecting themselves. There's logistic workers who ensure that supplies are delivered no matter the location, ensuring that our soldiers will have enough supplies to survive. These positions may not make headlines or a heroic movie, but without these people, no mission would be successful. They too have to leave their families, just like the brave men and women who fight in the battles. To our veterans who are not actively serving in the military, you continue to enrich our community, whether it's teaching life lessons to the younger generations, being a first responder, or just a friendly neighbor. Your continued service is greatly appreciated. And to the veterans who didn't get to come back home, and to the families who never got to see your loved ones come home, we owe those veterans a debt that can never be paid. But we can honor them by still supporting the veterans that are with us today. Veterans should be honored every single day, not just today. If you see someone in a uniform or wearing a veteran's hat, go shake their hand and thank them for their service. They protected your life. If you see someone who has served in the past, go thank them for their service. You owe it to them. You don't know how that person's day is going. Something so little could turn that person's whole day around. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all of our veterans for the sacrifices made for our country, and our community would like to thank you as well for your service. And thank you to everybody at Bloomfield for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim and Aiden, for those insightful remarks. Great job coming up here and giving your thoughts. Now I'd like to present the Veterans Day Band, directed by Scott Hoffman.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman and the Veterans Day Band. That was really incredible. At this time, I'd like to welcome our guest speaker for today, my friend, Mr. Bruce Wilkins. If you could come up to the podium. Give you a little background on Bruce as he's making his way up here. So he is a 1958 graduate of Bloomfield Central. I met him 2 years ago at his reunion, and he served in an active duty in the Navy from 1958 to 1960. He was on the destroyer USS Manly DD 940. He then taught at the Reserve Center for 4 years. He is married to Anna, a 1954 graduate, and they will celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary this year. Please welcome Mr. Wilkins to the podium.
Thank you, thank you. I want to say one thing first, and it's an honor to be in front of you veterans. I'd also like to say thank you to the people that organized this Veterans Day for us. The first is the superintendent, Mr. Andy Dole, and the high school principal, Mrs. Amy Shannon, and the middle school principal is Amanda Masters, and also Mrs. Jane Tillman. There may be more, but that's, you know. As you can see, there's no teleprompter up here for me to read from, like all the politicians have for the past year. We're glad that's over. Anyway, I have my own. It's called a poor man's teleprompter. I'd like to say a few words about the class of 1958. It's hard to believe that that was 66 years ago. For some of us, that last day that we walked these halls and that door closed behind us for the last time, most of us didn't have a clue what we were going to do and what our future would be. To the many in the class of 2025, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there, you'll be in the same boat. So I say to you freshmen, you sophomores, you juniors, and you seniors, not to worry. For you will do the same as we did. You put one foot in front of the other. You'll make decisions that change your direction, and you will create your own future. Then one day, 66 years from now, in the year 2091, someone in your class of 2025 will stand up here and tell of your achievements. With that thought in mind, I'd like to mention some of the accomplishments of our class of 1958. Sandy Schlenker. Sandy and Corky Schlenker raised a family and worked a 160-acre farm between East Bloomfield and West Bloomfield. She became the historian for West Bloomfield. She was always interested in local history. She helped many, many families with their genealogy. She also published 3 books. The first in 1989 was Unmask the Past. In 2003, she published Windows to the Past. And then in 2008, she wrote Elton Park and the Monument of East Bloomfield. These books are our history. They're your history. And I'm sure your local librarian could locate these books for you if you care to read about our history. The next student in our class was Judy Rogers. Judy Rogers became an art teacher. Not only did she teach art, but she created art. And 2 years ago, she had her own art showing in Canandaigua. Another student, Bevdy Smith, just gave a very large donation to her local church. The class of 1958 graduated 34 students. Out of the 34, 7 of us joined the military. And out of the 7, 5 of us are still here. And I would like to have them stand when I call their name. The first is Jerry Zimmerman, United States Marine Corps. The next is Harry Kloss, United States Coast Guard. The next is Ed Wheeler, United States Navy. And the other is Dick Belding, United States Marine Corps. I'm not sure if he's here. But these were all part of class of 1958. Thank you, guys. The other 2 are deceased. One is my brother, Charlie Wilkins. He served in the United States Army Airborne. And the next is Walt Bennett. Walt was brought up in Ionia. He was not a jock. He didn't have the highest grades. He was just a plain, normal student. Walt joined the U.S. Navy Reserve and spent 2 years aboard a Navy destroyer, the USS Goering DD-710. He was released from active duty, came back, went to work at the VA hospital. And then over time, Walt took courses and became a registered nurse. He then joined the United States Air Force as an officer. At that point, he served a whole career, I believe it was 26 years. But he traveled the world, working in operating rooms. He worked in England, he worked in Japan, he was part of Desert Storm. And when he retired, he was honorably discharged in Tucson, Arizona, as a major, his rank of major. I think he lived a very exciting life, not bad for a plain, normal student from Bloomfield Central School. I guess what I'm trying to tell you students is we didn't know what was in our future when we walked out that door. But I believe this school gave us a pretty good start. I have one more comment to make. That is, it is my sincere hope that you young students and future leaders will enjoy the same freedoms that I did through my life living in the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. At this time, I'd like to welcome Mr. Mark Falsone, our very own Bloomfield Mayor, to the stage. Mr. Falsone served in the U.S. Army and in the Vietnam War from 1968 to 1974. He is going to lead us in introducing and recognizing our veterans. Please hold your applause until the end.
Morning, everyone. Mr. Wilkins just stole most of my thunder about thanking everyone for this beautiful ceremony, so thanks, Bruce, appreciate it. But there's one group that has not been thanked, and that is the student audience here. All of we veterans look forward to this day with anticipation throughout the year, and it's the respect, the recognition, and the dignity with which the students treat us that makes this a very, very special day. So I would ask the students to please give yourselves a hand for being awesome. So veterans, when I call your name, please stand up and face the students. And if the students would hold your applause to the end, that would be terrific. Michelle Spalding, United States Marines. John Rothfuss, Air Force. Patricia Shaw, Army. Ronald Shaw, Army. Jim Langan, Navy. Dave Brisbane, Marines. Vaughn Buchholz, Air Force. Jim Harvey, Army. Sierra Pierce, Navy. Thomas Pierce, Navy. Barbara Miller, Navy. Joanne Palladino, Navy. Ron Briggs, Army. Bob Kiss, Army. Zachary St. Dennis, Marines. William Outlaw, Marines. Bruce Henninger, Army. Glenn Anderson, Marines. Bruce Bailey, Army. Thomas Bates, Marines. John Bradley, Army. John Bennett, Army. Dave Christensen, Navy. Harry Claus, Coast Guard. Vanessa Gonzalez, Marines. Dick Corrigan, Army. Ron Fox, Air Force. Daniel Hatch, Army. Roger Hawkins, Army. Matthew Herman, Army. Tom Parker, Marines. Matthew Smith, Air Force. Eric Jensen, Navy. Edward Wheeler, Navy. Bruce Wilkins, Navy. Dyson Williamson, Marines. Gerald Zimmerman, Marines. Robert Tenney, Air Force. Vern Brannigan, Marines. Bruce Bryan, Army. Fred Eskelson, Army. Bruce Forbes, Air Force. George Herron, Army. Frank Morocco, Army. Travis Piper, Marines. Doug Rogers, Army. Bruce Walters, Army. Are there any other veterans in attendance today whose name I did not call? Please stand and be recognized. And last, me, Mark Falsone, Army. Students, please salute your veterans.
On behalf of our school community, we thank you. We are so grateful for your service. Now, before I introduce our closing speaker, our students and staff would like to also share a special message with our veterans.
Thank you, veterans. To be willing to serve our country at any moment is one of the bravest commitments that I can think of. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you, veterans. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you for your service and have a great Veterans Day.
Thank you for your service, veterans.
Thank you for your service, veterans.
Thank you for your service.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you for your service.
Happy Veterans Day. We appreciate you.
Thank you for your service, veterans.
A big shout out to our veterans. Thank you so much for your service.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, veterans.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, veterans.
Thank you, veterans.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, veterans.
Thank you, veterans.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, veterans.
Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you for your service. Thank you, veterans.
Thank you, veterans.
Happy Veterans Day.
I would like to thank a few other folks who have been very much behind the scenes, both the video here, taking pictures down to my right. We have Brody, Mr. Roger Blackington in the back on lights and sound. And then, of course, Mrs. Tillman and Mrs. Woodhouse for helping to organize this wonderful event. We thank all of you. We would also like to thank, of course, our Scout Troops 55 and 421 for all of your support of this event every single year. And at this time, we'd like to welcome our very own School Resource Officer, Deputy Dyson Williamson. He is, as you heard, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran who served in the Persian Gulf and Desert Storm wars in Iraq, and he supports us every single day here as our School Resource Officer. Join me in welcoming Deputy Dyson Williamson.
Good morning, and thank you so much. Of course, you guys had to play the video, and after listening to Mr. Wilkins, I don't get sentimental too often, but those of you who have been here long enough know that today is always gets to me. I want to thank all my fellow veterans for making this a special day. I look forward every year to standing out in the foyer with you and swapping stories. It's really, truly a special event. And I just want to give my thoughts and condolences to all of us that aren't here today to share this. We do live in the greatest country in the world. Some of you may not realize that right now, but I've been to a lot of different countries around the world, done a lot of things, and it truly is a special place. And my hope is that all of you, at some point in your lives, will get to travel around the world and really appreciate what you have here. And I do appreciate all of my fellow veterans, all of you that will go into the military. Right now, we're under 1% of the total U.S. population is in the military, so it truly is a special, select few that decide to undertake that choice and support and defend our freedoms in our country. So thank you to all of our veterans again. And I just want to say to my students here, you guys are wonderful. Thank you for your support for this day. Thank you for your support all year. And I know you guys are a future, and my hope is that you really take notice of what's going on. I hope that you take advantage of some of these people here that are sitting in front of you that have gone into public service, that have done this for 50, 60 years. Pick their brains, because you are the ones that are going to guide this country moving forward long after all of us are gone. So please do your part, be kind to one another, and once again, thank you, veterans, and thank all of you, and thank Amy, Amanda, and Greg, and Jane for continuing to put on this great event. And just one more thing, like Mr. Wilkins said and a few other people, it's not just one day. Veterans go through a lot of things that you will never ever know, and they really do need support. They need you guys to talk to them, listen to them, and just a kind, casual hello, how you doing goes a long way. So thank you once again, Bloomfield. You guys are the best, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Dyson. That was inspiring, as always. We appreciate your words and your wisdom. We are fortunate to have you as a member of our school community, as I said. We do ask, as we bring closure to our event today, that veterans stay seated, as we would like to have a group picture. There is going to be an opportunity to visit with our 12th graders in the library for a meet and greet afterwards. We'll have some refreshments and an opportunity for our students to visit with you. Students, we do ask that you await dismissal instructions from me following our closure. But now we'd like to call up Troop 55's Senior Patrol Leader, again, Ty Nafziger, to retire our nation's colors.
Troop, form up. Please stand for the retirement of our nation's colors.